Hey guys, welcome to my guide where I'm gonna show you how to kind of get better with mechanics in Valorant, and how mechanics kind of, make a good player, as well as obviously game sense, but that's gonna be in the next video. This video is gonna be mainly about mechanics, and I'm in the range right now. Obviously, by myself, just in the range practicing with Phantom. I'm gonna be talking about three different things or four different things about how Phantom is better than Vandal in terms of like most scenarios. I'm going to be talking about aim labs. I have aim labs on another tab right now, and obviously aim trainers as a whole. How the fact that if you don't have like play other games like Valorant, like if you don't play Overwatch, Counter Strike, Siege, and how aim trainers in that kind of context is better like to use for a game like Valorant, where aim is very very assisting with how you play the game. But yeah, all in all, that's all I'm really talking about. I know people I'm gonna be talking about like warm-up routines. I'm gonna be talking about like aim training like in the game and outside the game. But yeah, I mean, what I would really like talk about is when I'm talking about Phantom is a lot better just by the sheer amount of bullets you get. You get 30 bullets, which Vandal you only get 25. But Vandal's one shot to the head from any range. With obviously if they have full armor, 150 or you 160 them. If you look on the right, it's 160 for headshot, 40 for body shot, and 34 for like leg shot. So people say it's better for that long range, but if you go over here in the range, you can two-shot these little things up here. Two-shot this, two-shot that, two-shot that. Because of the sheer body shot it has, Phantom has 39 or 35 from a certain range. So 2 shots won't fully break it, but 3 shots will. Which isn't gonna be as good. I mean, I guess that's like a thing for Vandal. But if you go over here, if I just get up here, but this is 20 meters away. Look at like how inaccurate that is, really. If I'm doing bursts, like if you bring that back down here. Okay, this may seem a little bad, but look at how more RNG based Vandal is. But how close together. Ignore these ones up here. These are just like the recoil. Let me try that again and give you a more like accurate kind of approach. If you just like tap, and then let's see tap with Vandal. Ignore that top one. Go back here. Okay, maybe not that close, but look at how close together Phantom is and how spread out Vandal is. Ignore the top one, that was like a misfire. They're more spread out and how Phantom's more close together. So you're telling me from 20 meters, these two bullets don't hit, that bullet doesn't hit, that doesn't hit, that doesn't hit, that doesn't hit. But those close ones do hit. Which is why Vandal's not as good. Also the fire rate with Vandal is a lot slower. If I put the bot here, look at how it's not as much damage, but with Phantom, let go, it's a lot more damage. Vandal, even if you spray control, it's not really as good as Phantom. With Phantom, where being it's like, yeah, look at that, it's already past like way more than Vandal did. 11 fire rate compared to 9.75, I find that way better. I also find how the fact how like Vandal you can Phantom you can kind of it's better for multi kills. You can like spray transfer, like you get the headshot or you get the double headshot and then like spray transfer to another guy, go like this. I got like 3 there. I find that very very good compared to Vandal. The more bullets, and also if you like look here on the right, you go all the way to the bottom, look at the bottom, you see how it says like it's silenced and like the tracers aren't visible to enemies. That's really good because you can't actually see people can't see your bullets in the air. Like these enemies wouldn't be able to see them, but with Vandal they will be able to see. So like I find that kind of annoying if you're like getting dinged through smoke, you like kind of spray a smoke and then they spray back because they can see your bullets. With Phantom they can't, which I find way better. I also find how like obviously when talking about accuracy, if you look at the first shot spread or like 6 like boxes, you look at the 6th one, like you know one on the bottom right. It says first shot spread 0.2. Look at Vandal here, 0.25. That's how much more kind of inaccurate the Vandal is. The higher the number, the higher the shot spread is, which is more further away the bullets are, which is why Vandal is kind of worse than Phantom. So yeah, that kind of ends the debate with kind of Phantom versus Vandal. Phantom is better, you know, overall, but people can sometimes use Vandal if they rely more on kind of long range duels and tapping instead of bursting, you know. But I would prefer Phantom way more than anything really. Different types of aim, like you look down here on the left, flicking, tracking, speed, precision, all this stuff, it'll go over like, you know, in just this, you know, like 10-minute playlist. Each task is 1 minute exactly, and it just helps you with like different tasks and stuff, how to get better at them, how to kind of, you know, put your all into kind of aim training. If you don't have past FPS experience, like, you know, Marvel Rivals, or like you look down here, Arc Raiders, Counter-Strike, you know, again, you know, Marvel Rivals, Overwatch, anything like this, if you haven't played those kind of games in the past, you're usually not gonna have as good of aim really compared to Valorant. Most pros really have played Counter-Strike since the early days of FPS games, which is why they are so, you know, obviously so cracked with aim. But yeah, aim is a pretty big part of Valorant. But if you go back into here, movement is also quite a good thing. There is a couple movement pieces of tech I want to show you. Movement tech I want to show you. Obviously, when you strafe, obviously, like, let me just turn on the bot strafe. You see how these bots are moving left, then right? Let's see this guy. Let's look at this one. Left and right. You want to sort of track this, right? I'm not good at tracking. It's something I need to focus on. But you track this bot kind of just around. Usually you want to stand further away because it's hard to track when you're close. And you want to wait and then shoot, you know, and wait, track it, and then shoot it. If I could even shoot it, there. You want to sort of just do that and just try and kind of hit one. You know, it's pretty hard in Valorant because tracking is so useful, but also quite hard since the heads are tiny. ADSing here, hit one. If you're not comfortable like face to face, you can like just sort of go on the side and track them a bit kind of easier. Kind of go here and just track them. I can't even hit one. But yeah, that's all you really want to focus on when it comes to tracking and stuff. When you move, you see how the bolts are going very predictably, like A and D. Like I know I can shoot this guy if I like aim here, you know, in time, like that, or like this. Like I just pre-fire. See, I can predict that quite easily. I know he's gonna go right here. He went left and then he went right, or he went right and he went left, and I show that. You know, it's quite easy to predict. So what I do, or what many Radiant players do, I've seen Royal G do it. He's a pretty high Radiant player. He got to Immortal just by using Sheriff. But yeah, what he did really in death matches, he went instead of AD shoot A, shoot D, or AD, he just went AA, and then that made it more unpredictable. And then sometimes he did DD when strafing. Was you can hear my keyboard, it goes like this. But yeah, no, he really just kind of focused on that. When you do like AA and then DD, it's really useful for like making the opponent kind of whiff, so that if they miss their first shot, you can AA or DD on them, and that makes it a lot like more unpredictable. Obviously, don't just do that all the time because they're gonna predict that. Make your movement unpredictable. Make it more kind of hard to predict. Like these guys, like these guys may be good with movement, but or maybe basic, but they are still hard to track. Like look, They are going left and right though, so it is kind of easy to see. But you wanna, when you are checking these, you wanna focus on one and not multiple, because it's a bit annoying, you know what I mean? So to do that, you can just go into here, press F3, eliminate 50, start, and you'll get one somewhere. Yeah, you'll get one, and you can just focus on this one until you're ready. You can shoot it. Once you've tracked it, you can shoot it. But yeah, you can also shoot these. I'd usually shoot these with Vandal, so you can sort of, you know, feel like break drones, sever drones, fade dogs, sky dogs. Kind of get the feel for like bigger targets. Obviously, you don't really want to crouch as much, just like I did there. You want to sort of not crouch. You want Phantom, you want to crouch more, but you don't really break this Phantom because it's kind of hard. It's kind of it's 3 bullets, not 2, even if you're close range. Because Phantom bullets may be a bit weaker, but they are definitely better than Vandal. Obviously, maybe not the individual bullets, but in terms of everything, like the, you know, the silenced bullets and the non-visible tracers to enemies. But yeah, that's all I want to talk about. I talked about aim labs and how like aim trainers usually want to use them after games and not before games, because it helps you kind of wind down after games. Because after games, you're gonna be kind of, you know, like you're gonna usually gonna crash down, like, you know, relax. You want to just sort of, you know, just perfect your aim after the game, see how it's doing, and just, yeah, so you don't wear yourself out after a game, you know. But yeah, it's really how people build up aim labs here. Doing these tasks after games is really good. It's what I did to rank up from silver to plat. As you can see, if I go out of here, back to menu here, you can see my triangle's plat, but my rank is gold. That's because of the hard reset. They did this act. If I go to my career, go to my act rank, yeah, I'm gold now, but last act I was plat, and obviously it's gonna take a while to get back. I'm already gold too though, and my career has been looking kinda good recently. I won quite a bit of my games, getting 25, 16. Some of them I gained a bit less if I'm playing a role I'm not supposed to. As you can see, I'm initiator main, Sova, Gecko, Sky, Teos, Sova again. I'm initiator main. I don't really play anything else. I'm sort of just trying to do a variety right now because I can play anything. It's just I prefer to play initiator because I like to give my team info. Also, what I did to get out of silver. If you want to get out of any rank, really, it's honestly for iron, for every rank up to plat. Because I haven't really reached further than plat, so this guide is focusing on low elo. So for each rank, I'd say iron, just end off here. Iron, it's, you can aim your way out. Really play anything. Honestly, the best thing you can play is like Reyna. To get out of the situations with dismiss. I'd say Reyna, ISO, Phoenix. Phoenix if you want good blinds. ISO if you want a good shield. You know, so you don't get insta one tapped. Or usually in iron, people don't really focus on. They just try to focus on using their gun or using their abilities. They don't really focus on one tapping or anything. But yeah, no, you want to focus on aiming your way out of iron with aim labs, with obviously aim submit. If you've never used any kind of thing like that before, if you haven't played any FPS games in the past, just focus on like aim labs and stuff. It's a lot better than to just focus, you know, only on the game. But you aim train not to get better aim trainers. You aim train for Valorant. You aim train for the game that you're playing. But yeah, I would say that for Valorant, you want really 10 minutes aim up a day or every other day, and a couple games a day or a couple games every other day. You want to play at least every day or at least every other day if you don't have much time. Weekends you can play till you lose. I play like 5-ish games a day on the weekends, if I have time. But yeah, that's all I really say for okay. Now moving on to the ranks. Back to the ranks here. Bronze, it's mainly about focusing on the game sense itself, starting to learn how to use agent's abilities, how to play, and not just rush it down, run it down onto site every time. You want to focus on really just kind of playing like it matters. Ignore that message. But I'd say for bronze, it's about learning the map, learning how to use certain agents. For silver, it's kind of both the things put together, like your aim, movement, your mechanical skills, and your game sense skills. You know, strategical game sense skills, faking A, going C, like 2A, 3C, or 3A, 2C, or 3A, or 3C, 2A. Just kind of making it more unpredictable, and obviously focusing on mechanical skill too. Gold, it's really their game sense a lot better too, but it's silver. It's all kind of everything. Gold, it's more mechanical skills. Golds aren't as good as silvers compared to mechanics, so just focus on mechanics more in gold rather than anything. Their games is gonna be a lot better, so watch out for that. Which is kind of what I'm dealing with. When you look at my games, um, I'm usually kind of just playing not really any duelist. The only duel I play is like a Waylay. I had a pretty good Waylay game where I ran it down against a pretty low elo, like silvers and bronzes, and a little bit of gold, like 1 gold. But that's only because my MR is a bit low. Now it's a bit higher. I'm playing a bit more like gold and silver until I can get to full golds. Where their aim isn't really that good. It's their like game sense and like how smart they play, like Astras, Geckos, with like utilities and stuff. But yeah, plat wise, up to plat, their mechanics are a lot better, and their game sense isn't as good. But it's more like that combination still. End up in plat. The game sense is good, just not as like. Obviously, golds are still a bit more creative. Plats are a bit more logical, which isn't necessarily bad, but you gotta kind of play more logically, if you know what I mean. And you can play creatively too, but you want to beat them, so you gotta beat like them to beat them. But yeah, you gotta be like more unpredictable though. Don't make it too logical. Don't make it like let's just play for picks, or you can play for picks if they are just running your team down with like utility and throwing it all on you, and not just kind of. If you play all throughout the map, like defaulting is playing everywhere, mid, A and B, or mid or A, B and C, you know, or A, mid and C, playing everywhere on the map so they can't focus on everything, and they have to like they can't focus on one specific spot, like only A or only C or only B. That's what I would say. Is pretty good. So plat, it's really just finding your agent that you want to always play. Gold as well. Silver, you don't want to worry about too much what you want to play. Really just duelist and sentinel. So you can kind of you play self-sufficiently in silver. Gold's where they focus more on teamwork. Gold is where you're going to find your best possible agent. You can play a couple agents. You can play one for every role. Like for me, I like to play Omen for smokes. I like to play Sova for initiator. I like to play Waylay right now for duelist, or usually like Jet or Phoenix for duelist. Sometimes Waylay, sometimes Raze. Depends on the map. Depends on how I'm feeling. Depends on like what I want to play. How I want to play the game. Based on utility. But yeah, that's all I really want to say. Plat, mainly their mechanics are a lot better. You want to focus on team play in plat. They're not. Some of them, most players really aren't that are good in terms of team play. Obviously, looking at here, I was hard stuck at like 80 wins at like over 100 games. What I've seen from that is that they aren't really good with team. They're good at teamwork. They're just not as good creatively at teamwork. Golds are a bit more creatively better with teamwork. I know it's crazy how our low rank is better in a different way, but that's kind of the whole thing with Valorant. You can't always like every rank is kind of different. No two ranks are the same. Every rank is different. You know, and every rank has their own way of kind of playing the game. Plats are that mechanically kind of boosted, I'd say. Not boosted, but like more cracked mechanically. Diamonds are better, like way better, in terms of game sense. Like overall, they're cracked mechanically and cracked game sense wise too, and strategically as well. In every kind of aspect, diamond is probably the best rank in the game. But it's not obviously the higher ranks, but like the higher ranks are good too. But diamonds, I will say, are the best rank, which is kind of the whole thing I'm going for. I think I'm streaming it as well, but yeah, diamond is rank. But yeah, those are some tips and stuff I want you to want to talk about for the ranks. But yeah, that's all I want to say.